Hi, and welcome back to Golden Lap for part 4. Hopefully we don't run into any sound issues in this episode. We're starting to come up on the end of the season. I think we'll probably do 2 races in this episode and 2 in the next. We've got the Mutton Chop in England and high elevation track in Brazil, just like in real life. A wet track in Brazil and a wet track in England. So we missed a couple of wet races yesterday, but we're going to make up for that. Or, I don't know yet. I might go back and do commentary over the races that got deleted, so we'll see. For Fernando Alonso there, and we are going to head to the race here at the Mutton Chop in England. Mercedes has reported a stolen steering design. Williams will lose $10. So Williams stole from Mercedes. Williams doing what they can to increase their chances in the Drivers' Championship. Wonder if they were going to give that to Albon or to Sainz. Probably one would think it'd be a little more likely they were going to give that to Albon. Albon partied a little too hard. He thought he was going to get a new car part. When he woke up, man, you wake up with the hangover and you get the news that your team tried to steal a car part for you and got docked double-digit points. That's pretty heartbreaking. Pretty rough morning there for Alex Albon. And we need to get our cars out as soon as possible to set these times before the wet weather sets in. And I am just praying that I watch this footage back and don't have to deal with a ruined audio again. I have no idea what went wrong last time. And Perez is on the wets already, which is interesting. But we're going to send out our guy on the intermediates and see if we can set a decent lap time before we have to go out on the wets. We got a guy right behind us. Lots of traffic here. But we're out there first, ahead of everybody else. So hopefully we get a nice lap time in. We're obviously going to watch this on one-time speed. Pretty important. It's probably going to be the fastest lap time we set the entire session. And like most wet sessions, it's just going to be a chance for us to get as much practice in as we possibly can and tune the car as much as we possibly can. And it's a purple first sector for Alonso. Just zipping around the track here. It looks fast even on one-time speed. He is tearing this up. Beautiful second sector. I doubt anybody's going to set a faster lap time than this today. Verstappen only setting green sectors back there. You love to see it. And it's 3 purple sectors for Fernando Alonso, who puts it on pole, a 1:57. We'll see if anybody can come close to that as we watch the times roll in. To the zoomed out view. I don't like that the finish line is right here. The finish line's here, so when we look at the extended times, the finish line gets covered up. Oh, Perez was on the wets. That's interesting. I guess I just didn't realize I put Perez on the wets. That's my mistake. But Perez, I guess our car is so good right now that Perez managed to set the second fastest time on a wet tire. We're going to switch him over to an intermediate and see if we can set an even better time, obviously, as soon as we can. I don't know why we don't have a tune option for Perez right now when we do for Alonso, but we'll put Alonso on another pair of inters as well and try to get him out there as soon as we can. Again, these wet sessions really are about getting as many laps as you can in. I think we've probably already set the best time we're going to set. On to inters with ye. And we will give you as much help with the engine as we possibly can. Alonso wants to pit and change tires. They both want to pit and change tires. Let's see if he can set a decent lap on these tires. But he says it's too wet for them, so I don't doubt it. He might struggle. But let's see on the first sector. It seems like he is struggling. Yeah, he's definitely struggling, so he needs to pit. Unfortunately, we couldn't beat the wet weather. But it does seem like Perez managed to set the second best lap of the session on a set of wet tires, which is very impressive. It's very impressive work there from Sergio Perez. Our car, our engine is humming right now. We've got a great engine in our vehicle. It doesn't seem like this game has engine suppliers as a mechanic, unfortunately. I think that would be a cool addition. Oh no, wait, Alonso is setting a time. We'll tune Perez. Put him on the wets again. And unfortunately, he needs to go out for another lap, so we'll send him out immediately. And Verstappen just set all purple sectors. So this is very much still a competition here. It's not surprising of all the drivers on the grid to see Verstappen pulling that off. Perez down to 4th, Alonso in 2nd, obviously. And it's going to be a big task to set a better lap than that. As Alonso's going to go onto the wet tire. As we're going to send out Alonso for his first lap on the wets. And I'm going to watch this lap probably on 2x speed. We'll see what he does. Up as we have Perez into the pit box. Obviously more engine work. I don't really like... Oh no, here we go. Finally some decent progress on the engine. And we should get a golden tune or close to it. And he gets stuck behind Tsunoda, which sucks, but it's no real progress there from Alonso. The time is not any better. Yeah, he's 2 seconds behind his fastest lap. That's not good. We aren't really coming even close to sending faster times. Perez is going to go out. Although he's still 2 seconds behind his fastest time on this wet track. This is pretty much what the order is going to be. It's astonishing that Verstappen managed to set that fast of a lap on such a wet track. Oh, he's doing a lap right now. Well, I mean, it's not going to be... Okay. It's probably not going to be that good, I hate to tell you. We should be on ×4 here. Our only real work we have left to do is pitting. As Russell managed to put it 1/1000th above us. Gotta love it. So we're in 5th now. As the Mercedes are figuring things out. The good old Mercedes Aston Martin beef. Nothing like a good old Mercedes Aston Martin beef. Tune Perez. We don't quite have any golden tunes on Perez. Could be a little bit of a better session for Perez. Who's down in 5th. Oh, and it's a yellow flag. Albon crashes out. Albon, not Albano. Because Alonso is coming into the pit lane. And why not send out Alonso and tune Perez? And unfortunately it says we can't reset him again until a new lap. That's confusing to me. So we'll do that as quickly as we can. And it looks like we are going to have time to get additional tune-ups on the cars. As in come Alonso and Perez. And we're going to get that final tune here. 70, yeah, 4 to 7 would be right. And we get the golden tune. Nice. Be nice to get this 20 here. We get 16, not bad. And that'll be the final tune for, are we tuning Perez or Alonso right now? Perez. Final tune for Perez, so he does get a golden tune. And we could get 2 here with Alonso. Looks like we very well might if we hit this 20. Nice, 85, beautiful stuff. Man, a 16 here. It's a 12, not bad. Not great tuning on the steering, but everything else knocked it out of the park. And that's pretty much all I am concerned with here. I'm not going to send these guys out and let them crash. I'm happy with the tune-ups that we did. And I'm decently happy with 2nd and 5th. Maybe I'm holding Perez to a little too high of a standard. I think the thing I'm the most peeved with is Russell beating us by 1/1000th. That's tough to take. And look at the Racing Bulls down there. It's just brutal for Racing Bulls right now. That car must be getting no love at all, and the Ferrari's continuing to struggle. And where's Sainz? Wow, so the Williams. Williams losing those points. Obviously, Albon showing up hungover. Him getting caught trying to steal from Mercedes. And now this, Carlos Sainz beginning to fall down the table and lose speed. This is starting to look like Williams regressing back to their old ways of yesteryear. And by yesteryear, I mean not the 80s, the 2010s. What's the hook? Oh, surprisingly affordable. Okay, Magnussen and Perez. Magnussen driving for Kimi Antonelli this week, who is injured. That is the only change to the grid other than Albano being in for Liam Lawson at Racing Bulls. The grid is as follows: Albano and Hadjar on the back row. Bortoletto, who struggled this season, next to Bierman and the Haas, who've also struggled, of course. That's why they're down here. Duhan and the Alpine. Albon, who we've talked about. Leclerc behind Stroll for the first time on the grid. So, again, we've talked about Leclerc going down to Stroll's level. There it is right there. Ocon in 13th. Hulkenberg in 11th. He's been impressive this season. Gasly leading the line for Alpine in 10th. a slightly better track position than we've seen at times. I probably shouldn't be impressed at 9th on the grid from a Red Bull, but Tsunoda, I am a little bit surprised. He's been down a lot lower in more disappointing places earlier in the season, so maybe a little bit of development there for Tsunoda. And Sainz, as we talked about, struggling a bit, probably not happy to be in 8th. Kevin Magnussen has the Mercedes up in the points to start. Norris in 6th, Piastri in 3rd. We are in 5th and 2nd. Just to say it in a less confusing way, the top 5 is Perez, Russell, Piastri, Alonso, and Verstappen on pole, to the surprise of no one who I would expect to bring this home here. Max Verstappen, I think we're going to probably struggle now that he's reached his form and that the Red Bull looks a little better to keep Max Verstappen away from the Drivers' Championship, at least, where he is already leading. We're definitely starting on the wets in this race. We'd be stupid not to. Hopefully somebody else starts on the intermediates and makes that mistake. But here we go. It is very much on. Alonso going right up the back of Verstappen to start. But look at this, it's Perez who barnstorms up from 5th into 2nd, and Alonso is now trailing him. Great racing here to start. Very, very entertaining stuff. 2nd and 3rd from our guys. And unfortunately, Alonso gets overtaken. Alonso may be struggling a little bit right now. Perez clearly very, very happy in the wet here. Taking up right behind Max Verstappen. And we're going to tell Alonso to chill a little bit, because what we really need is Perez to take the reins here. And Tsunoda crashes at the back of the field. We just talked about Yuki Tsunoda looking a little better up in 9th place, and he crashes on the first lap. I hate to say that feels realistic of Yuki Tsunoda in real life, but it unfortunately does. And Perez, the safety car created a little bit of a bigger gap for Verstappen, unfortunately, so there's now a little bit less of a chance for us to overtake him, but Alonso has a much bigger gap to Sainz behind, which is good. Sainz, by the way, doing some impressive racing here early on to gain positions. Perez losing position a little bit to Piastri, and we're going to need Alonso. I want Alonso to push on Piastri so that Perez can keep not wearing the tires out and not wearing the engine out. That would be my preferred strategy, but unfortunately it looks like Piastri is really chasing us here with his engine on high. We've got an engine on high behind him, though. Let's see if it matters. I don't really necessarily care if Alonso gets past Piastri as long as he's chasing him. And we've got a little bit of a gap to Piastri behind with Perez. Verstappen doesn't really feel terribly relevant right now. This is Verstappen's race to lose, certainly. And we are just going to keep pushing up the back of Oscar Piastri with Fernando Alonso for as long as we can, and try to give Perez as much to work with as we can. And we'll just go one more lap. Alonso is on high crash risk, but I want us to be aggressive. I want us to put that pressure on Piastri. And yeah, now we're creeping towards getting that overtake. I like to see it. And Perez has a much larger gap from 1 second up to 5 now. That's really good work there from Fernando Alonso, being a very good teammate. And they both say it's going to be fast laps, so we'll see if Alonso can get the overtake here on high crash chance. And Bortoleto crashes, and we aren't going to get that overtake, unfortunately. It's a 17-second gap to Verstappen, tragically, even with the safety car. Get that fuel burn up and try to get Alonso back onto the back of Piastri, who's now under 3 seconds behind. It was 5 before the safety car. And Lance Stroll crashes, and it looks bad. And could that second Ferrari be cursed? Hopefully Lance Stroll makes it out of that one. And it's a red flag. We're going to restart from the pit lane. And we are going to put on a new set of wet tires. Why on earth would we not? And let's see where Stroll crashed. Right there, by the trees and the forest, apparently. By this little turn. Tricky little turn, crashes on the straight, must have lost some front grip. I would like, a thing that I've seen too is, I get that people can crash anywhere on a race course, but I think it would be a little more realistic if, people had a higher likelihood to crash on turns specifically. I see a few too many people crashing on the straight. Which, I mean, if Lance Stroll, like, dies from this or is out for, like, 6 weeks or something, then I guess it makes sense because he crashed on something of a straight here. But, like, crashing on a turn is a little more realistic. And Alonso with a horrible restart down to 6th. Uh-oh. And what is going on? Perez down to 3rd. We've had a pretty dreadful restart here. Moving back to times 2 is Piastri, who've been giving us problems before, has now overtaken both of our cars. We were just trying to keep him in between before. And it's a lot of aggressive driving around the track right now on the restart. And we're going to keep it aggressive. And, I think Alonso did get an overtake on Norris. How long ago that was, I'm not sure. He's chasing Russell now. Let's see if he can get it. He's on high crash risk, and we get... Oh, no, never mind. We don't get it. And I'm gonna pull back with Perez, of course. He doesn't need to be on high crash risk right now. But we need to keep Alonso pushing on Russell, unfortunately, and it's gonna take high engine mode and aggressive driving. I just want him to get the overtake. And he just can't quite do it. Yeah, he can't quite do it. I'm gonna give him one more lap to try. And Fernando Alonso crashes. That is far from surprising. We just kept him out there over the crash limit. And Alonso crashes the car. Perez has the golden lap right now. But it's going to be a 4th stoppage to this race in only 14 laps. It's been an absolute bloodbath out there. Hopefully it doesn't seem to be an injury-causing crash for Fernando Alonso, thankfully. We are not going to pit under the safety car, and we are going to resume racing with only one car. And we are going to be as careful as we can with the remaining vehicle we have on the road. He said, switching it to aggressive tire wear and engine push. But we need to. We need to get away from Russell, who I strongly suspect has better pace than us in general, especially Perez. I think Alonso would have been actually a little more able to keep Russell behind. And Perez is now on high crash risk, and we need to just avoid that completely. We'll go on tire conserve, actually. I think tire conserve might be our friend here. We lose the position. But if we can only manage to do one more stop, we can maybe leapfrog Russell that way, rather than battling with him for track position, as he's taken the lead of the race. So we were keeping the man with the fastest pace on the track behind us. And speaking of the fastest pace on the track, we've got Verstappen behind us on fresh wets, which there's going to be no point to that at all. We've gone up into 2nd place, but it's going to be all about the pit stop here. Which, I mean, this is racing, but it's always all about the pit stop. We were in 1st place for a brief moment there before Verstappen got the overtake on the straight, as Piastri and Russell came into pit. But we should generally be behind those guys on track position. We're going to do a couple more laps here. I'm going to just do... You know what? Yeah. I'm going to start pushing now. And then we're going to pit after this lap. Here we go. Now this is the pit lap. And we are going to stay on the wets. Yeah, the track is still wet, of course. And we're going to confirm that strategy. Yeah, see, at least Alonso didn't lose it on the straight. At least he crashed around a turn. And in comes Sergio Perez for his pit stop. It's a good one. We come out in 4th place, where we expected to be. 14 laps now remaining in the race. As we're pretty much just chilling right now, we are probably going to finish this race in 4th place if we don't burn the tires off the car. Massive differentials. We just have to keep the tires on, as I said. Going to be pretty hard to lose our track position here. We've got a 9-second gap on... No, Sainz is behind us a little bit, but he's probably going to pit again. I don't think we are. Hopefully we can manage to avoid losing this place to Carlos Sainz. But we're 30 seconds behind Russell now, who somehow is on pretty fresh wets in 30-second gap. Don't understand that. And just try to keep Sainz behind, which might not happen, actually. Oh, no, Sainz is pitting. We're fine. We are fine. Yeah, it's massive differentials. We're going to cruise home in 4th place here after 4 more laps. And Sergio Perez crashes with no crash risk at all on tire conserve right by the pit lane. And we double DNF for the first time, and that is going to significantly hurt our championship hopes. Perez with the golden lap in 4th place, doing really good work for us. Crashes out again. I believe it's his 4th race in a row that he's crashed, so we can't be surprised. That's brutal stuff. That's really, really brutal stuff. As Verstappen is gonna come home with a 20-second victory differential. It's Verstappen, Piastri, Russell, Sainz, Leclerc. Just let everybody gain points on us. And Lance Stroll, it is cursed. That second Ferrari seat is in fact cursed. Lance Stroll also passes away from a crash from that second Ferrari seat. And it's a tragedy in the F1 community. A true, true tragedy. Stroll and Lewis Hamilton. And that second, whoever's going to... Are they going to just retire the second Ferrari car? 2 driver deaths in 1 season in the same Ferrari? Can you imagine the dude who's having to come in and take over? Sweat trickling down his brow. It's like that Key and Peele meme. Sweat just pouring from his forehead. We do get a point. I don't think that's how that works. But we get a single solitary point for that golden lap despite crashing out. It'd be cool if that's how that worked. But man, we only get 1 point. That is not a pretty sight. We had a much better weekend than that. But unlucky with the crashes. We make $7. Perez now in 7th. Surprised he's up that high. Surprised he's above Norris and Antonelli, to be honest with you. He's had a pretty rough season. Leclerc all the way down in 6th, though. Again, a sore sight for Ferrari. It's been literally a brutal, tragic season for Ferrari, literally. Perez in 7th and Alonso up in 2nd. Verstappen running away with the championship right now. We still lead the championship by 1 point. We just 1 point with 3 races left. This is turning into some pressure. Antonelli heals and he's back. And Nicholas Latifi is hired for the second Ferrari car. Poor, poor Nicholas Latifi. God rest his soul. And this could have disastrous consequences, but with 3 races left in the season, I think this would be the right time to spy on another team. And I tend not to tinker with steering setup, so let's try to steal Mercedes' steering setup here. What's a really good part? Their second car has insane steering. 2,900 performance. So let's steal this 2,900 steering from Kimi Antonelli's car. And we successfully copy it. And we can equip it in the garage. No penalty. Awesome stuff. Perez is going to crash no matter what we do. Let's put it on Alonso's car. And we'll give that slightly nicer steering setup to Perez. So, a bit of a minor upgrade there, unfortunately. But hopefully it makes a difference. We've still got one of the faster cars on the grid, I think. Short on money, $2, so let's go get a good result. Here in Brazil, high elevation, bumpy track, anti-clockwise, and it is raining. Looks like Inter's to start here. McLaren crew chief parties too hard and is hungover. So we lost the audio for this race as well, so I'm going to have to do a little post-mortem commentary for this session as well. We are on the Inters to start. Looks like it's going to be the wet at the end of the session, so like many rainy sessions, the early laps are going to be very, very important in terms of actually setting qualifying times. And it's Alonso out for his first lap now. Kind of a cool course design. It comes back on itself a lot, which is interesting. You get to see a lot of the other cars moving around over the course of your lap. As Alonso puts it on pole with 2 purple sectors. Russell with 2 purple sectors, but he's only in 3rd. Perez with a poor first lap down in 11th. And Alonso with his second lap stuck behind a Ferrari, it looks like. Looks like we're qualifying around a bunch of cars on their out lap. It's really annoying. I don't think this is going to be that good of a lap. He hasn't complained about getting stuck behind a car. He manages to keep it on pole. I'm not sure if he progressed in that lap at all. Perez has set 2 green sectors. We aren't watching him. Let's see what he does. And he was in second originally. Piastri beat him shortly after he set that third best time, but it's Alonso in first and Perez in third. You love to see it. As we pit Alonso and try to get more towards that golden tune on the engine and chassis. And at this point, everybody is out on the wets, so I think um, the days of setting better lap times have come to an end. As Perez completes his last lap on the inters and does not set a better time, we're going to put our cars on the wets and give them tune-ups. Get closer to these golden laps and just keep sitting them out on the wets. I think this is probably the point at which we're going to be able to set the fastest lap that we possibly can on a pair of wets, as I'm obviously speeding it up because I doubt we're going to set any better lap times in this session, and that seems to be affirmed. So this is probably what the grid after qualifying is going to look like. And we only have golden tune on the engine for Perez, and we get it on the engine for Alonso. Can't quite get it on the chassis, unfortunately, and due to the long lap times, that's probably going to be it for us in terms of tuning the cars for this qualifying session. And there you see the final times from qualifying. The podium to start will be Perez, Piastri, and Alonso. Good to see 2 of our cars in the top 3 of a race, dreading the eventual rain of all the races. To have 2 cars on the podium to start, it's this rainy nightmare, and it's time to read out the grid. It's Albon, Bortoleto, Latifi, Doohan, Bierman, Hadger, Sonoda, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Ocon, Albon and Norris, Antonelli and Sainz, Leclerc and Russell, Verstappen, Perez, Piastri, and Fernando Alonso on pole. And it is lights out and away we go. And Alonso keeps his lead. Perez, as usual, loses position. He seems to always do that at the start of races, going down from 3rd to 6th, being overtaken by Verstappen, Sainz, and Leclerc. 3 drivers who have been doing a fantastic job this season. Leclerc, honestly, not having a bad season for driving in the first Ferrari of a team that has been straight up cursed all year. Hard to push with Alonso here. He's got a really sizable lead, though. He's driving the heck out of this car here on the wets. Really, really liking the wet weather, obviously, here, Fernando Alonso. As Perez certainly has the more competitive racing on his hands. Piastri bringing up those straights, pretty much the whole straight behind us, and we're right behind Sainz in fourth, as this is some competitive racing. And uh-oh, Piastri with the overtake on Alonso out of nowhere. And now we've got to worry about Verstappen behind us, as both of our cars running into some early turmoil here. Alonso managed to get out to such a massive lead, and then Piastri just ran him down like it was almost nothing. Piastri with some really impressive pace he's found in these last few laps. And now we've got to worry way more about Verstappen up in second, and we still haven't managed to get this overtake on Sainz. And yeah, trying to chase Carlos Sainz, just frustrating lap after lap after lap. We're trying to chase Sainz, and Perez crashes the car, and that is hardly surprising. As we have another DNF, our third DNF of this episode, and at this point, for the rest of this race, you know we're just going to be prioritizing Fernando Alonso keeping the car on the road at this point to just maximize our point total here in the Constructors' Championship, and of course for Fernando Alonso himself. But if it comes down to it, I'm going to have to play it conservative here again just to try not to crash the car. And right now, I mean, Piastri clearly has better race pace than we do as we pit onto our new pair of wets, and it is very likely to be a two-stop strategy here. I think everybody's going to go on a two-stop as we exit the pit just a little bit in front of Verstappen, who's also on fresh tires. As Sainz pits behind, and Verstappen gets the overtake. So it has been a very tough race here for Fernando Alonso so far, honestly, going down from first to third, and Perez also dropping from and with Perez DNFing as well. It's just been a struggle here as we're just going to zip through the laps here and let Alonso wear out these tires with some pretty massive margins here to the cars in front and behind. Alonso now in fourth behind Sainz, who came out of the pit lane. And again, I mean, it was Carlos Sainz who made Perez crash, and now Alonso is behind him trying to get the overtake. And yeah, you know we're not going to push too hard here. Again, it's just about trying to keep all the points we can, and I'm not sure if Piastri and Verstappen are going to pit. No, they're not. It's only 5 laps left. So it looks like right now we're stuck in fourth with our other car DNF. We're 11 seconds back of Sainz. And Tsunoda crashes. Again, Yuki Tsunoda with a crash. So could this be a chance to us to improve some track position? No, not at all. Not nearly long enough of a safety car. And yeah, Fernando Alonso is going to bring this race home in fourth. I have no doubt about it. That's a disappointing result for Aston Martin, to be sure. As we come around the final corner into fourth place, and Oscar Piastri wins this Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz in third place with the golden lap, and he gave us trouble all race long. Caught Alonso out of the pit lane, got the overtake. We couldn't handle Verstappen, and Perez crashing out was just the death knell for our race. It's McLaren, Verstappen, and Sainz, and it's been 2 rough races here in this episode for us. That was a pretty tough, pretty challenging episode 4, as it's Alonso in second in the Constructors, Perez down in 7th. Verstappen with a sizable lead, and we are now 1 point behind Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship, as we are quite frankly blowing it here with now 2 races to go in the season, and it is a very tight championship race as well. So little in between these top 5 teams in this championship, so tune in for episode 5 to see where the final 2 races of the season lead us.